In every game of chess, there are three possible outcomes. Either white wins, black wins, or it's a draw. But what happens when a mind reader and a foresight play a game of chess? Who would win? Chess is all about outthinking your opponent. If they think 3 moves ahead, you think 4. If they think 10 moves ahead, you think 11. It's all about outthinking your opponent. But what happens when someone can read minds, or they can see into the future? What happens when they play a game of chess? So if you could read minds, or you could look into the future, you have a significant advantage in the game. But what happens when these two people play against each other? Someone who could read minds and someone who could see into the future. Who would win? Well, there are 3 possible outcomes. First, the mind reader wins. The idea is that the mind reader would read the foresight's mind, see what move he's going to play next, and then counter that move with the best possible move. Therefore, he'll always have an edge over the foresight and, in the end, win the game. The second thought is that the foresight would win the game. This is because the foresight can see into the future. He'll know exactly what moves in the future the mind reader would play the best moves to counter that, and win the game. And finally, the most common answer to this riddle is that they would draw. The foresight would look into the future and see what moves would be played, and the mind reader would read the foresight's mind, and thus they'd be looking at the same game, and it would end in a draw because they both play the optimal move. And when both players play the optimal move in chess, the game will always end in a draw. So then who wins? And the answer to this riddle is that neither one of them will win, nor will it end in a draw. So how is that possible? Well, we need to take a step back and put a little game theory into this and ask ourselves, who is initiating this game? So the foresight can see into the future. That means he can see into the future to see if he wins the game or loses the game or draws. This means that the foresight will only initiate the game if he sees himself winning the game of chess in the future. If he sees himself losing or drawing, he won't initiate the game. This is because we could assume these beings are self-interested and rational, so they don't want to play a game of chess that they're going to lose or draw. They only want to play a game of chess that they're going to win. Since the foresight only gains utility from winning a game of chess, he'll only initiate that game of chess if he sees himself winning it. But the mind reader knows this. So if the foresight initiates a game with the mind reader knows to decline the game of chess. Because the mind reader knows the foresight will only initiate the game if he knows he's going to win. So every game of chess initiated by the foresight will be declined by the mind reader. So what happens if the mind reader initiates a game? Well, if the mind reader initiates the game, 2 things can happen. The foresight can accept the game or decline the game. And so when the mind reader initiates a game, the foresight will look into the future and see whether or not he's going to win or lose the game. If the mind reader loses the game, then he'll decline the initiation of the chess game. If he wins the game, he'll accept the initiation of the chess game by the mind reader. Since the mind reader knows that the foresight will only accept the initiation of his chess game when he knows he's going to win, the mind reader will never initiate a chess game. So the answer to the riddle, who would win in a game of chess, a mind reader or a foresight, the answer is that they would never actually play a game of chess. This is because they both know that the other person will only accept the game of chess if they know they're winning. And because of that, no one ever initiates a game. The strategy to the game of chess starts way before the game actually even starts. And if both players play this pre-chess game strategy perfectly, then they would never engage in a game of chess. And that is why it is the greatest chess game never played.